We're here on the World Bank study tour showing 15 countries the opportunity that offshore wind can bring. And somehow actually going and touching the steel makes it so much better than just reading it in books and receiving PowerPoint presentations. They'll take more knowledge and more evidence that they need to take back to their politicians and understand what the next steps will be, and that will also define what World Bank does to support them in that.
We would like them to understand the scale of this industry in terms of what it can do for these countries, bringing in large-scale renewable power, but also producing or generating large numbers of local jobs and economic benefit.
The biggest inspiration for me is teaching. I'm a teacher. I love to do that. And the beautiful thing I find in this event is these people are all very committed to their country and communities to help the climate, the war on climate, and basically create renewable energy. And that's the biggest inspiration for me, to be in this group of people from all over the world.
And when the World Bank brings people together with a common or a general main focus on the green transition, then the chemistry, it just appears. We start sharing examples, we start talking about regulation, and we share best practices, but we also talk about what not to do. And that is actually, in essence, what you can say, create the green transition globally.
It is our purpose to show the world that the lessons we have learned in the Netherlands in relation to offshore wind are lessons that are useful for everybody, because we learned how to develop a good offshore wind sector the hard way. We also made the mistakes and we learned from that.
We're all inspired by what we are seeing, because when you go to ports and when you go to actual facilities and see the sheer magnitude of these projects, there is a great deal of inspiration, and also the realization that this is only a matter of time that we are going to be able to deploy this in countries with the potential for offshore wind.
Collaboration between the different countries is critical. And our governments that we work with need to understand that it should not be just done in isolation. They need to consider supplying their own market, but also the potential to supply other markets regionally and also globally.
The first impression was everything's so huge, so impressive, the equipments are so large that it's amazing.
Well, it's so exciting to understand what our host organizations had prepared for us, and this would aid us in coming up with the necessary strategy and policy framework to enable our offshore wind development in the country become a reality.
Should be arriving in Hamburg around hopefully 6:30. And then I just wanted to say welcome to a new delegate that arrived last night, Hatim from Morocco. If you want to wave your hand and say hi. Hi everybody. Hi. Hello Hatim.
We hope to especially give them a sort of a sense of where they need to start, because it's a long journey for them as well. I mean, it's taken Denmark 50 years to get to where we are today. So I think it's important to understand, first of all, your limitations and not rush things.
The motivations they have, the drivers, the reasons that they want to pursue it really diverge a tremendous amount. And I know this in talking to each of them individually, but when you gather them all together and they're exchanging and learning from each other, and it's really remarkable. It really stands out that all of them are pursuing it for different reasons, and that's kind of the beauty of it.
So I came here with certain preconceptions that it can't be harder than oil and gas, and I quickly found out that that's not really the case. So it was really important to see how, speak to people who have faced those challenges and how they've solved it.
Wow, it's been great. In fact, for me, this is the second offshore wind study tour. I have been in the UK one, and just to see the development that happened over 3 years, as really listening to the global industry leaders is phenomenal.
So I think this study tour has really helped to increase the appetite from our client governments for offshore wind. We've certainly advanced some of the conversations we've been having with them. We've been showing them the opportunities previously on paper and through discussions, but now they've actually come here and seen them firsthand as to what those are, but also understand those challenges as well and how difficult this industry is, and also the important role of government in delivering this successfully.